Dramatis Personae of the Family of Love by Thomas Middleton, Thomas DEKKER, and Lording Barry. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Dramatis Personae.
Geraldine, read by Thomas Peter.
Maria, read by Kay Hand.
Glister, read by Brad Philippone.
Mistress Glister, read by Sonia.
Mistress Purge, read by Lian Yao.
Purge, read by Alan Mapstone.
Lip Salve, read by Rob Board.
Gudgeon,
read by Andrew Utley.
Dry Fat, read by Peter Tucker.
Club, read by Todd.
Shrimp, read by Scarlett G. Periwinkle, read by Stoopy.
Vial, read by Nemo.
Within, read by Sandra.
Narrated by David Lawrence. End of Dramatis Personae. Act 1 of The Family of Love by Thomas Middleton, Thomas DEKKER, and Lording Barry. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Prologue. If, for opinion hath not blazed his fame, nor expectation filled the general round, you deem his labours slight, you both confound your graver judgment and his merits. Impartial hearing fits judicious spirits, nor let the fruit of many an hour fall by envy's tooth or base detraction's gall, both which are tokens of such abject spirits, which, wanting worth themselves, hate others' merits, or else of such, which once made great by fame, repine at those which seek t'attain the same. From both we know all truer judgments free. To them our muse, with blushing modesty, patiently to her entreats their favour, which done, with judgment's praise, or else dislike the labour. Act 1, Scene 1. A gallery in Glister's house. Enter Glister, Mistress Glister, and Maria.
Tricks and shows, protestations with men are like tears with women, forgot ere the cheek be dry. Geraldine is a gentleman, his lands be in statutes, he is not for thee, nor thou for him. He is a gallant, and young thoughts be most unconstant.
Yet young vines yield most wine.
But old vines the best. Believe not these great breeched gallants, they love for profit, not for affection. If he brings thee to a fool's paradise, he will forsake thee.
Which fortune God send my enemy. Love is a cold heat, a bitter sweet, a pleasure full of pain, a huge loss and no gain. Why shouldst thou love him only?
Words cannot force what destiny hath sealed. Who can resist the influence of his stars, or give a reason why he loves or hates, since our affections are not ruled by will, but will by our affections? 'Tis blasphemy 'gainst love's most sacred deity, to ax why we do love, since 'tis his only power that sways all our affections, all things which be, beasts, birds, men, gods, pay him their fealty.
Tut! Love is an idle fantasy, bred by desire, nursed by delight, and humour, that begins his dominion in Leo the lion, the sign of the heart, and ends in Aries the ram, the sign of the head. His power is to stir the blood, pricks up the flesh, fills all the body with a libidinous humour, and is indeed the overture of all ladies, which to prevent, I have banished Geraldine, your dearly beloved, in my house, and as for you, since I am your guardian by my brother's last will, I will sequester you from all other rooms in my house, save this gallery and your upper chamber, till in discretion I shall find it convenient to enlarge you.
My body you may circumscribe, confine, and keep in bounds, but my unlimited love extends itself beyond all circumscription.
Believe me, Maria, I have known the natures of divers of these gallants. If they possess the unlimited love of us women in never so ample manner, without the society of the body, I know how soon their love vadeth. Young man's love is like ivy. It must have somewhat to cleave to, or it never prospers. Love is like fasting days, but the body is like flesh days. And 'tis our English gallant's fashion to prefer a morsel of flesh before all the fasting days in the whole year.
Enter Vial.
The news with you, Vial.
And it like your worship, here's Club. Master Purge, the apothecary's prentice, come to invite you, my mistress, and Mistress Maria to supper, and to see Master Geraldine's will sealed.
Tell Club my wife and myself will be there, but Maria shall not come.
Exit Vial.
There must be your sweetheart's parting feast. Now he perceives no access to my house, he will to see. A good riddance. If he returns not, you forsooth are his heir. That's not much amiss, yet there may be tricks. I will not be overreached. Come to your chamber, where till my return you shall be in safe custody.
Exit with Mistress Glister.
O silly men, which seek to keep in awe women's affections which can know no law.
Maria ascends. Scene 2. A street before Glister's house. Enter Gerardine, Lipsalve, and Gudgeon.
Now by the horns of Cupid's bow, which hath been the bane to many a tall citizen, I think there be no finer fools under heaven than we men when we are lovers. How thou goest crying up and down with thy arms across for a wife, which hadst thou, she'd cross both arms, head, and heart. Dost not yet know the old saying, a wife brings but 2 good days, that is, her wedding day and death day.
Believe him, Geraldine, he speaks now gospel. A man may take more wife with one hand than he's able to put away with 10, Geraldine. A wife is such a cross that all married men would most gladly be rid of.
And yet such a cross that all bachelors would gladly be creeping to. Profane not thus the sacred name of love, you libertines who never knew the joys nor precious thoughts of 2 consenting hearts.
Didst ever see the true picture of a lover? I can give thee the hieroglyphic, and this it is. A man standing naked, a wench tickling him on the left side with a feather and pricking him under the right side with a needle. The allegory, as I take it, is this, that at the first we are so overjoyed with obtaining a wife, that we conceit no heaven like to the first night's lodging, and that's the signification of the left side, for wives always in the night take the left side place. But, sir, now come to the needle on the right side. That's the daytime, wherein she commands. Then, sir, she has a certain thing called tongue, 10 times more sharp than a needle, and that at the least displeasure a man must have shot quite through him.
Gramercies, Lipsalve, my neat courtier, but, Sirrah Geraldine, be thyself sociable and free. Leave not thy native soil for a giglot, a wench who in her wit is proud,
in her smile deceitful,
in her hate revengeable,
and in nothing but her death acceptable. I'll tell thee there's no creature more desirous of an honest name and worse keeps it than a woman. Dost hear? Follow this song, and if ever thou forsake thy country for a wagtail, let me be whipped to death with ladies' hair laces.
Let's hear that worthy song, gentle master Lipsalve.
Observe. Now, if I list, will I love no more, no longer wait upon a gill, since every place now yields a wench, if one will not another will. And if what I have heard be true, then young and old and all will do. How dost thou like this man?
No more, no more. This is the chamber which confines my love. This is the abstract of the spacious world. Within it holds a gem so rich, so rare, that art or nature never yet could set a valued price to her unvalued worth.
Unvalued worth? Why, she's but a woman, and they are windy turning vanes. Love light as chaff, which, when our nourishing grains are winnowed from them, and constantly they fly at the least wind of passion. A woman's eye can turn itself with quick dexterity, and in each wanton glass can comprehend their sundry fancy suited to each friend. Tut, their loves are all compact of levity, even like themselves. Nil muliere levius.
Tut, man, everyone knows their worth when they are at a rack rent. In the tram time they bear as great a price as wheat when transportations are.
Maria appears above at a window.
Peace. Let's draw near the window and listen if we may hear her.
Debarred of liberty, oh, that this flesh could like swift-moving thoughts transfer itself from place to place, unseen and undissolved. Then should no iron ribs or churlish flint divide my love and me. Dear Geraldine, despite of chance or guardian's tyranny, I'd move within thy orb and thou in mine.
She'd move within thy orb and thou in hers. Blood, she talks bawdy to herself. Gudgeon, stand close.
But in vain do I proclaim my grief, when air and walls can yield me no relief.
The walls are the more stony-hearted, then.
Peace, good Gudgeon, gape not so loud.
Come thou, my best companion, thou art sensible, and canst my wrongs reiterate. Thou and I will make some mirth in spite of tyranny. The black-browed night, drawn in her pitchy wane, in starry-spangled pride rides now o'er heaven. Now is the time when stealing minutes tell the stole delight joyed by all faithful lovers. Now loving souls contrive both place and means for wished pastimes. Only I am pent within the closure of this fatal wall, deprived of all my joys.
My dear Maria, be comforted in this. The frame of heaven shall sooner cease to move. Bright Phoebus' steeds leave their diurnal race, and all that is forsake the natural being, ere I forget thy love.
Who's that protests so fast?
Thy ever-vowed servant, Geraldine.
Oh, by your vows, it seems you'd fain get up.
Ay, and ride too.
I would, most loved Maria.
I knew it. He that to get up to a fair woman will stick to vow and swear, may be accounted no man. But tell me, why hast thou chose this hour to visit me, which nor the day nor night can claim, but both, or neither? Why in this twilight camest thou?
To avoid suspicious eyes. I come, dear love, to take my last farewell, fitting this hour, which nor bright day will claim nor pitchy night, an hour fit to part conjoined souls. Since that my native soil will not afford my wished and best content, I will forsake it and prove more strange to it than it to me. In time's swift course, all things shall find event, be it good or ill, and destinies do grant that most preposterous courses often gain what labour and direct proceedings miss.
What, thou forsake me then?
Let first blessed life forsake me. Be thou constant, my absence may procure thy more enlarge, and then...
Desire's conceit is quick, I apprehend thee. Be thou as loyal as I constant prove, and time shall knit our mutual knot of love. Wear this, my love's true pledge.
Throws it down.
I need not wish. I know thou what return. Nor will I say, thou mayest conceal thyself, being returned, till I may make escape and visit thee. I prithee, love, attempt not to ascend my chamber window by a laddered rope. The entrance is too narrow, except this post, which may with ease. Yet that is dangerous. I prithee, do it not. I hear some call, farewell. My constant love let after actions tell.
Exit above.
O perfection of women!
A plague of such perfection!
How she woos by negatives shows
thee what to do under colour of dissuasion.
She's truly virtuous.
Tut, man, outward appearance is no authentic instance of the inward desires. Women have sharp falcon's eyes and can soar aloft, but keep them like falcons from flesh, and they soon stoop to a gaudy lure.
Why, then Huguenot women are admirable angels.
But angels make them admirable devils.
My love's chaste smile to all the world doth speak of spotless innocence.
Women's smiles are more of custom than of courtesy. Women are creatures. Their hearts, and they, are full of holes, apt to receive but not retain affection. Thou wilt tomorrow, thou sayest, be gone. If thou wilt know the worst of a countries, marry before thou goest. For if thou canst endure a cursed wife, never care what company thou comest in.
Come, merry gallants, will you associate me to my cousin Purges the apothecaries, and take part of my parting feast tonight?
Oh, his wife is of the family of love. I'll thither. Perhaps I may prove of the fraternity in time. Will thither, that's flat.
Exeunt. Scene 3, a room in Purge's house. Enter Mistress Purge.
What club? Club? Is Club within there?
Enter Club.
Mistress?
I pray, what said Master Dr. Glister? Will he come?
I sent word I would, for I was but to carry a diet to one of his patients. What call you her? She that paints a daytimes, and looks fair and fresh on the outside, but in the night time is filthier than the inside of a bocadero, and is indeed far more unsavoury to those that know her, forsooth.
Went he to her?
I had a receipt for the Grincombes in his hand, and I said I would take that in his way.
'Tis well. And what guest besides him and his wife will be here at supper?
The first in my account is Master Geraldine, your cousin, Master Dr. Glister and his wife, Master Dryfat the merchant, Master Lipsalve the courtier, Master Gungeon the gallant, and their pages. These, I take, will be your full number.
Then belike my room shall be stuffed with courtiers and gallants tonight. Of all men I love not these gallants. They'll prate much, but do little. They are people most uncertain. They use great words, but little sense. Great beards, but little wit. Great breeches, but no money.
That was the last thing they swore away.
Belike they cannot fetch it again with swearing. For if they could, there's not a page of theirs but would be as rich as a monarch.
There's nothing, mistress, that is sworn out of date that returns. Their first oath in times past was by the mass, and that they have sworn quite away. Then came they to their faith, as, by my faith 'tis so. That in a short time was sworn away too, for no man believes now more than a sees. Then they swore by their honesties, and that, mistress, you know, is sworn quite away. After their honesties was gone, then they came to their gentility, and swore as they were gentlemen. And their gentility they swore away so fast that they had almost sworn away all the ancient gentry out of the land, which indeed are scarce missed, for that yeomen and fathers' sons, with the help of a few Welshmen, have undertook to supply their places. That at the last they came to silver, and their oath was, by the cross of this silver, and swore so fast upon that now they have scarce left them a cross for to swear by.
And what do they swear by, now their money is gone?
Why, by blank, and God refused them.
And can they not as well say men refuse them, as God refused them?
No, mistress, for men, especially citizens and rich men, have refused their bonds and protestations already.
Enter Purge.
'Tis well. See how supper goes forward, and that my shoes be very well blacked against I go to the family.
Exit Club.
Now, sweet chick, where hast thou been? In troth, la, I am not well. I had thought to have spent the morning at the family, but now I am resolved to take pills, and therefore, I pray thee, desire Dr. Glister that he would minister to me in the morning.
Thy will is known, and this for answer say. 'Tis fit that wise men should their wives obey. And now, sweet duck, know I have been for my cousin Gerardine's will, and have it. He has given thee a legacy, but the total is Maria's.
Enter Glister, Mistress Glister, and Dryfat.
Master Doctor, your wife and Master Dryfat are most welcome. Now, were my cousin Gerardine and Master Lipsalve here, our number were complete.
Is this frantic will done? Will Master Gerardine to see? Let me tell you, I am no whit sorry. Let such as will be headstrong bite on the bridle.
'Tis here, Master Doctor. All his worth is Maria's, and locked in a trunk, which by tomorrow's sun shall be delivered to your custody.
Methinks 'twere a reasonable match to bestow your niece on Master Gerardine. He is a most hopeful gentleman, and his revenue such that having your niece's portion to clear it of all encumbrances, 'twill maintain them both in a very worthy degree.
Tut, you are Master Dryfat the merchant. Your skill is greater in coney skins and woolpacks than in gentlemen. His lands be in statutes. You merchants were wont to be merchant staplers, but now gentlemen have gotten up the trade, for there is not one gentleman amongst 20 but his land be engaged in 20 statutes staple.
Enter Lipsalve, Gerardine, and Gudgeon.
Let every man his humour have, I do at none repine. I never regard whose wench I kiss, nor who doth the like by mine. The indifferent minds I hold still best, whatever does befall. For she that will do with me and thee will be a wench for all. And how goes the squares?
Your stay, gentlemen, does wrong to a great many good stomachs. Your suppers expect you.
And we are suppers?
And from what good exercise come you three?
From a play, where we saw most excellent Samson excel the whole world in gate-carrying.
Was it performed by the youths?
By youths? Why, I tell thee we saw Samson, and I hope 'tis not for youths to play Samson. Believe it, we saw Samson bear the town gates on his neck from the lower to the upper stage, with that life and admirable accord that it shall never be equalled unless the whole new livery of porters set their shoulders.
Fie, fie! 'Tis pity young gentlemen can bestow their time no better. This playing is not lawful, for I cannot find that either plays or players were allowed in the prime church of Ephesus by the elders.
I think she tickled you there.
Cousin Gerardine, shall the will be read before supper?
Before supper, I beseech you.
Aye, aye, before supper.
Aside.
For when these women's bellies be full, their tongues will be soon at rest.
Well, Master Doctor, pity the state of a poor gentleman. It is in you to stay his journey, and make him and yourself happy in his choice.
Hold you content. Shall this will be read?
It shall. Read you, good Master Lipsalve.
Command silence, then.
Silence!
Lipsalve, reading the will.
In the name of God, Amen. Know all men by these presents that I, Gerardine, being strong of body and perfect in sense...
That's false. There's no lover in his perfect sense.
Peace, Dryfat.
Do give and grant to Maria Glister, daughter of John Glister, and niece to Dr. Glister, physician, all my leases, lands, chattels, goods, and movables whatsoever. This is stark naught. You cannot give away your movables, for Mistress Doctor and Mistress Purge claim both shares in your movables by reason of their legacies.
That's true, for their legacies must go out of your movables.
I'll put it in. All my movables, these following legacies being paid.
Do so, good Master Lipsalve.
Lipsalve, after writing.
'Tis done.
I pray read only the legacies, for supper stays.
Well, the legacies.
Reads.
First I give to my cousin, Mistress Purge, a fair large standing... What's this? Oh, cup. A fair large standing cup with a close stool.
'Tis not so, 'tis not so.
I cry you mercy, a close cover 'tis.
Reads.
To Mistress Doctor I give a fair bodkin of gold, with 2 orient pearls attending the same, all which are in my trunk to be delivered to the keeping of Maria, in witness, etc. Is this your will?
'Tis.
To it with your hand and seal.
Gerardine signs and seals the will.
How is it, Chick? I must have the standing cup, and Mistress Gloucester the bodkin.
Right, sweet duck.
I pray, gentlemen, put to your hands.
Come, your fists, gentlemen, your fists.
Gerardine, while the witnesses sign the will.
Mistress Gloucester, I found you always more flexible to understand the estate of a poor gentleman than your husband was willing. Therefore I have thought it a point of charity to reveal the wrongs you sustain by your husband's looseness. Let me tell you in private that the doctor cuckolds Purge oftener than he visits one of his patients. What he spares from you he spends lavishly on her. These apothecaries are a kind of panders. Look to it. If he keep Maria long close, it is for some lascivious end of his own.
She is his niece.
Tut, these doctors have tricks. Your niceness is such that you can endure no polluted shoes in your house. Take heed lest he make you a bawd before your time. Look to it.
Come, our hands are testimonies to thy follies. Shall's now to supper? We'll have a health go round to thy voyage.
Aye, and to all that forswear marriage and can be content with other men's wives.
Of which consort you two are grounds. One touches the bass, and the other tickles the minikin. But to our cheer, come, gentles, let's away. The roast meats in consumption by our stay.
Exeunt. End of Act 1. Act 2 of The Family of Love by Thomas Middleton, Thomas Dekker, and Lording Barry. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 2, Scene 1, a room in Purge's house. Enter Purge.
The grey-eyed morning braves me to my face, and calls me sluggard. 'Tis time for tradesmen to be in their shops, for he that tends well his shop, and hath an alluring wife, with a graceful waddy alack, shall be sure to have good doings. And good doings is that crowns so many citizens with the horns of abundance. My wife, by ordinary course, should this morning have been at the family, but now her soft pillow hath given her counsel to keep her bed. Master Doctor should indeed minister to her, to whose pills she is so much accustomed, that now her body looks for them as duly as the moon shakes off the old and borrows new horns. I smile to myself to hear our knights and gallants say how they gull us citizens, when indeed we gull them, or rather they gull themselves. Here they come in term time, hire chambers, and perhaps kiss our wives. Well, what lose I by that? God's blessing on's heart, I say still, that makes much of my wife, for they were very hard favoured that none could find in's heart to love but ourselves. Drugs would be dog cheap but for my private well-practised doctor and such customers. Tut, jealousy is a hell, and they that will thrive must utter their wares as they can, and wink at small faults.
Exit. Scene 2, a street. Enter Gloucester.
The tedious night is past, and the jocund morn looks more lively and fresh than an old gentlewoman's glazed face in a new periwig. By this time my humorous lover is at Gravesend, and I go with more joy to fetch his trunk than ever the valiant Trojans did to draw in the Grecian jade. His god shall into the walls of my Troy, and be offered to a face more lovely than ever was that thrice ravished Helen, yet with such caution that no danger shall happen to me.
Exit. Scene 3. Another street. Enter Lipsalve and Shrimp, meeting Gudgeon and Periwinkle.
Master Lipsalve, welcome within ken. We two are so nearly linked that if thou beest absent but 1-2 hours, thy acquaintance grows almost mouldy in my memory.
And thine fly-blown in mine. How dost thou do?
Fellow page, I think our acquaintance runs low too. But if it's run not all the leads, let's set it a tilt, and give 'em some dregs to their mouldy fly-blown compliments. No, rather let's pierce the rundlets of our running heads, and give 'em a neat cup of wagship to put down their courtship. Courtship? Cartship. For the tongues of complimenters run on wheels, but mark 'em, they have not done yet.
And i' faith, how is't? Methinks thou hast been a long vagrant.
The rogation hath been long indeed. Therefore we may salute as ceremoniously as lawyers when they meet after a long vacation, who, to renew the discontinued state tale, they stretch it out with such length, that whilst they greet before, their clients kiss them behind.
If his nose were put in the remainder of that state tale, he would say 'twere an unsavoury one. I wonder why many men go so at the law. I'll tell thee, because they themselves have neither law or conscience.
But what news now? How stands the state of things at Brussels?
Faith, weak and limber, nothing but pride and double dealing. Virtue is vice's lackey. Beggars suck like horse leeches at the heart of bounty, and leave him so tired and spur-galled that he can be no longer ridden with honesty.
Well, fair the city yet. There virtue rides a cock-horse, cherished and kept warm in good stables and fox-fur, and with the breath of his nostrils drives pride and covetousness before him like own's shadow. Beggars have whipping cheer, bounty obliges men to it, and liberality gives money for scrips and scrolls, sealed with strong arms and heraldry to outlive mortality. Love there will see the last man born, never give over while there's an arrow i' the quiver.
Now we talk of love, I do know not far hence so good a subject for that humour, that if she would wear but the standing collar and her things in fashion, our ladies in the court were but brown sugar candy, as gross as grocery to her.
She's not so sweet as a apothecary's shop, is she?
A plague on you! Are you so good a scent?
Aside.
For my life, he's my rival.
Her name begins with Mistress Purge, does it not?
True, the only comet of the city.
Aye, if she would let her rough stream out a little wider. But I'm sure she is ominous to me. She makes civil wars and insurrections in the state of my stomach. I had thought to have bound myself from love, but her purging comfits makes me loose-bodied still.
What? Has she ministered to thee, then?
Faith, some lectury or so.
Aye, I fear she takes too much of that lectury to stoop to love. It keeps her body soluble from sin. She is not troubled with carnal crudities nor the binding of the flesh.
Thou hast sounded her, then, belike?
Not I. I am too shallow to sound her. She's out of my element. If I show passion and discourse of love to her, she tells me I am wide from the right scope. She says she has another object and aims at a better love than mine.
Oh, that's her husband.
No, she speaks pure devotion. She's impenetrable. No gold or oratory, No virtue in herbs, nor no physic will make her love.
More is the pity, I say, that fair women should prove saints before age had made them crooked.
Aside.
'Tis my luck to be cross still, but I must not give over the chase.
Come hither, boy, while I think on't.
Lipsalve talks apart to Shrimp.
Faith, friend Lipsalve, I perceive you would fain play with my love. A pure creature 'tis, for whom I have sought every angle of my brain. But either she scorns courtiers, as most of them do, because they are given to boast of their doings, or else she's exceeding straight-laced. Therefore, to prevent this smell-smock, I'll to my friend Dr. Glister, a man exquisite in art magic, who hath told me of many rare experiments available in this case. Farewell, friend Lipsalve.
Adieu, honest Gregory. Frequent my lodging. I have a viol de gambo and good tobacco.
Exit Gudgeon and Periwinkle.
Thou wilt do this feat, boy?
Else knock my head and my paint together.
Away then, bid him bring his measure with him.
Exit Shrimp.
Geraldine is travelled, and I must be cast into his mould. My flesh grows proud, and Maria's a sweet wench, etc. But yet I must not let fall my suit with Mistress Purge, lest, sede vacante, my friend Gudgeon join issue. I'd rather to my learned doctor for a spell, for I have a fire in my liver, burns like hell.
Exit. Scene 4. A room in Glister's house. Enter Mistress Glister and Maria.
I pray let's have no polluted feet nor rheumatic chaps enter the house. I shall have my floor look more greasy shortly than one of your inn-of-court dining tables. And now to you, good niece, I bend my speech. Let me tell you plainly, you are a fool to be lovesick for any man longer than he is in your company. Are you so ignorant in the rules of courtship to think any one man to bear all the prick and praise? I tell thee, be he never so proper, there is another to second him.
Let rules of courtship be authentic still to such as do pursue variety, but unto those whose modest thoughts do tend to honored nuptials and a regular life, as far from show of niceness as from that of impure thoughts, all other objects seem of no proportion, balanced with esteem of what their souls affect.
No marvel sure you should regard these men with such reverend opinion. There's few good faces and fewer graces in any of them. If one among a multitude have a good pair of legs, he never leaves riding the ring till he has quite marred the proportion. Nay, some, as I have heard, wanting lineaments to their liking and calf to support themselves, are fain to use art, and supply themselves with quilted calves, which oftentimes in revelling fall about their ankles. And for their behaviour, wit, and discourse, except some few that are travelled, it is as imperfectious and silly as your scholars new come from the university. By this light, I think we lose part of our happiness when we make these weathercocks our equals.
Disgrace not that for which our sect was made, society and nuptials, above these joys, which lovers taste when their conjoined lips suck forth each other's souls, the earth, the air, yea, gods themselves know none. Elysium's sweet, ay, all that bliss which poets' pens describe, are only known when soft and amorous folds entwine the core of two united lovers, where what they wish they have, yet still desire, and sweets are known without satiety.
Enter Vial.
Here's Club, forsooth, and his fellow prentice have brought Master Geraldine's trunk.
Let them come in, if their feet be clean.
Exit Vial.
So then, your best beloved is gone. Fair weather after him. All thy passions go with him. Recomfort thyself, wench, in a better choice. His love to thee would have been of no longer continuance than the untrussing of his hose. Then why shouldst thou pine for such a one?
Maria, aside.
She's foolish, sure, with what imperfect phrase and shallow wit she answers me.
Enter Club and another apprentice, with a trunk.
Honest Club, welcome. Is this Master Geraldine's trunk? He is gone, then?
Ay, indeed, Mistress Glister. He is departed this transitory city, but his whole substance is here enclosed, which, by command, we here deliver to your custody, to the use of Mistress Maria, according to the tenor of the premises.
Place it here, my honest Club. Well done. And how does thy mistress? Was she at the family to-day?
Club spits.
Spit not, good Club. I cannot abide it.
Not to-day, forsooth. She hath overcharged herself and her memory. She means to use a moderation, and take no more than she can make use of.
And I prithee, Club, what kind of creatures are these familists? Thou art conversant with them?
What are they? With reverence be it spoken, they are the most accomplished creatures under heaven. In them is all perfection.
As how, good Club?
Omitting their outward graces, I'll show you only one instance, which includes all others. They love their neighbors better than themselves.
Not than themselves, Club.
Yes, better than themselves, for they love them better than their husbands, and husband and wife are all one. Therefore, better than themselves.
This is logic. But tell me, does she not endeavour to bring my doctor of her side and fraternity?
Let him resolve that for himself, for here he comes.
Enter Glister.
Oh, hast thou brought the trunk, honest Club? I commend thy honest care. Here's for thy pains.
Giving money.
I thank ye, Master Doctor. You are free and liberal still. You'll command me nothing back?
Nothing but commendations. Farewell.
Exeunt Club and apprentice.
Your sweetheart Geraldine is by this time cold of his hope to enjoy thee. He's gone, and a more equal and able husband shall my care ere long provide thee. What clients have been here in my absence, wife?
Faith, Mouse, none that I know more than an old woman that had lost her cat, and came to you for a spell in the recovery.
I think egregious ignorance will go near to save this age. Their blindness takes me for a conjurer. Yesterday a justice of peace salutes me with a proffer of a brace of angels to help him to his footcloth, some 3 days before stolen, and was fain to use his man's cloak instead on't.
Re-enter Vial.
Here's a gentleman craves speech with you, sir.
Go in, sweet wife, and give my niece good counsel.
Exeunt Mistress Glister and Maria.
His name?
He will not tell it to me.
His countenance?
I can see nothing but his eyes. The rest of him is so wrapped in cloak that it suffers no view.
Admit him.
Exit Vial.
What should he be for a man?
Enter Lipsalve.
What, Master Lipsalve, is't you? Why thus obscured? What discontent overshadows you?
A discontent indeed, Master Doctor, which, to shake off, I must have you extend your art to the utmost bounds. You physicians are as good as false doors behind hangings to ladies' necessary uses. You know the very hour in which they have neither will to deny, nor wit to mistrust. Faith now, by the way, when are women most apt?
Shall I unbutton myself to you? After the receipt of a purgation, for then are their pores most open. But what creature of a courtier is it hath drawn your head into the woodcock's noose?
A courtier? Nay, by this flesh, I am clean fallen out with them. They have nothing proportionable.
Oh, I perceive. Then 'tis some city star that attracts your aspect.
Lipsalve aside.
He knows by his art. In plain terms, a certain apothecary's wife.
Upon my life, Master Purges, I smell you, sir.
You may smell a man after a purgation, indeed, sir. 'Tis she. Now, for that fame hath bruited you to be a man expert in necromancy, I would endear myself to you forever, would you vouchsafe to let one of your spirits bring Mistress Purge into some convenient place, where I might enjoy her. I have heard of the like. Can you perform this?
With much facility, I assure you, but you must understand that the apparition of a spirit is dreadful, and withal covetous, and with no small sum of gold hired to such feats.
Re-enter Vial.
Sir, here's another gentleman, muffled too, that desires present conference with you.
Walk you into that room. I will bethink myself for your good, and instantly resolve you.
Exit Lipsalve.
Let the gentleman come in.
Exit Vial.
Lipsalve in love with my vessel of ease, come to me to help him to a morsel most affected by mine own palate. No more but so. I have shaped it. The conceit tickles me.
Enter Gudgeon.
Sir, as a stranger I welcome you. What, Master Gudgeon, have I caught you? I thought it was a gallant that walked muffled. Come, let me behold you at full. Here are no sergeants, man.
Master Doctor, this my obscure coming requires an action more obscure, and in brief, this 'tis. Sir, you are held a man far seen in nature's secrets. I know you can effect many things almost impossible. Know then, I love Mistress Purge, and opportunity favours me not, nor indeed is she so tractable as I expected. If either by medicine or your art magical you can work her to my will, I have a poor gallant's reward, sir.
Glister, aside.
That's just nothing. But how, sir, would you have me to procure you access to Mistress Purge? You never knew a physician abroad.
Why, by conjuration, I tell you, wherein you are said to be as well practised as in physic. Here's the best part of my present store to effect it.
Giving money.
Not a penny for myself, but my spirits. Indeed, they must be fed. Walk you by here, while I think upon a spell.
Gudgeon retires.
What mystery should this be? Lipsalve and Gudgeon both in love with Mistress Purge, and come to me to help him by art magic. 'Tis some gullery, sure, yet if my invention hold, I'll fit them. Who's within there?
Enter servant.
Fetch me, in all good haste, 2 good whips. I think you may have them not far hence.
Exit servant. Glister, aside.
It shall be so. Now tell me, Master Gudgeon, does no man know of your love to Mistress Purge?
Not a man, by my gentry.
Then, sir, know I'll effect it, but understand withal the apparition will be most horrid if it appear in its proper form, and will so amaze and dull your senses that your appetite will be lost and weak, though Mistress Purge should attend it naked. Now, sir, could you name a friend with whom you are most conversant? In his likeness should the spirit appear.
Of all men living, my conversation is most frequent with Lipsalve the courtier.
'Tis enough. I'll to my spirit.
Gudgeon retires, and Glister writes a few words.
Are these whips come there?
Enter servant with whips.
Ready here, sir.
Exit. Glister, aside.
So, lie thou there. My noble gallants, I'll so firk you. Sir, my spirit agrees in Lipsalve's shape. To-morrow, 'twixt the hours of 4 and 5, shall Mistress Purge be wrapped with a whirlwind into Lipsalve's chamber. That's the fittest place, for by the break of day Lipsalve shall be mounted and forsake the city for 3 days. So my spirit resolves me. Now, sir, by my art, at that very hour shall his chamber door fly open, into which boldly enter in this sort accoutred. Put me on a pure clean shirt, leave off your doublet, for spirits endure nothing polluted. Take me this whip in your hand, and being entered you shall see the spirit in Lipsalve's shape, in the self-same form that you appear. Speak these words, here ready written.
Giving a paper.
Take 3 bold steps forward, then whip him soundly, who straight vanisheth and leaves Mistress Purge to your will.
Ay, but shall your spirit come armed with a whip too?
He shall, but have no power to strike.
Is this infallible? Have you seen the proof?
Probatum, upon my word. I have seen the experience. If it fail, say I am a fool, and no magician.
Master Doctor, I would you had some suit at court. By the faith of a courtier, I would beg it for you. Fare you well, sir. I shall report of you as I find your charm.
And no otherwise, sir. Let me understand how you thrive.
Exit Gudgeon.
Ha ha ha! Now to my friend Lipsalve. I must possess him with the same circumstance, wherein I am assured to get perpetual laughter in their follies, and my revenge.
Exit. Re-enter Maria.
Oh, which way shall I turn, or shift, or go, to lose one thought of care? No soothing hope gives intermission, or beguiles one hour of tedious time, which never will have end, whilst love pursues in vain my absent friend. Thou continent of wealth, whose want of store, for that it could not pease the unequal scale of avarice, givest matter to my moan, O dross, the level of insatiate eyes, the devil's engine and the soul's corrupter, thou playest the attorney against the lawful force of true affection, dost interpose a bar 'twixt hearts conjoined. Cursed be thy seeds of strife, whose progress chokes the natural course of life.
Gerardine rises out of the trunk, while Maria retreats in alarm.
Oh, help, help, help!
Stay, sweet Maria. I bring thee ample joy to check that sudden fear. Let thy sweet heart, that constant seat of thy affection, repay that blood exhausted from thy veins. Fear not, sweet wench, I am no apparition, but the firm substance of thy truest friend. Know'st thou me now?
O Geraldine, my love, what unheard of accident presents thy unexpected self, and gives my heart matter of joy mixed with astonishment? I thought thou hadst been cabined in thy ship, not trunked within my cruel guardian's house.
That cruelty gives fuel to desire, for love suppressed fears like a raging fire which burns all obstacles that stop his course, and mounts aloft. The ocean in his source may easier hide himself and be confined than love can be obscured, for in the mind she holds her seat, and through that heavenly essence is near when far remote. Her virtual presence fills, like the air, all places, gives delight, hope and despair, and heart against fell despite. That worst of men, thy cruel guardian, may keep down a while, but cannot dissipate what heaven hath joined. For fate and providence gave me this stratagem, to let him know that love will creep where 'tis restrained to go.
I apprehend the rest, O rare conceit. I see thy travel happily was feigned to win access, which with small ease thou hast gained. This trunk which he so greedily supposes contains thy substance, as it doth indeed, upon thy fair pretence in lieu of love, bequeathed to me if death should stop the course. This trunk, I say, he hugs. Sink thou or swim, so he may feed his wolf, that root of sin, his avarice. But heaven, that mocks man's might, gives this close means to insist upon our right.
Ingenious spirit, true oracle of love, thou hast prevented me. This was my plot, whose end and scope I long to imitate with accents free, and uncontrolled with fear. Does opportunity stand fair?
Not now. Danger stands sentinel.
Then I'll retire. We must be cautelous.
He goes again into the trunk.
So, and time shall not oft turn his hourglass ere I'll find place and occasion fitting to thy mind.
Exit. End of Act 2. Act 3 of The Family of Love by Thomas Middleton, Thomas Dekker, and Lording Barry. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 3, Scene 1, Maria's apartment. Enter Gerardine and Maria.
The coast is clear, and Argus's wakeful eyes securely sleep. Time turns to us his front. Come, sweet Maria, of the auspicious hours let's take advantage.
With all my heart I do embrace the motion with thyself. Welcome, sweet friend, to liberty of air, which now methinks doth prompt our breaths to move, sweet accents of delight, the joys of love. How dost thou brook thy little ease, thy trunk?
That trunk confines this chest, This chest contains the unbounded speculation of our love, incomprehensible grief, joy, hope, and fears, the affections of my mind, are like these spheres, which in their jarring motions do agree, through the influence of love's sweet harmony.
Are not inferior bodies here on earth produced and governed by those heavenly ones?
They are.
They jar, you say, yet in that strife maintain perpetual league. Why should their influence in rational souls be checked by erring sense? Or why should mutual love, confirmed by heaven, be infringed by men? Methinks 'tis most uneven.
Thou arguest well, Maria, and this with all that brutes nor animals do prove a thrall to such servility, sows that our wards to gold, opinion, or the undue regards of broking men, wolves that in sheepskin bands prey on the hearts to join the unwilling hands, ruin fair stocks, when generous houses die, or propagate their name with bastardy.
Sterility and barrenness ensue such forced love, nor shall erroneous men pervert my settled thoughts, or turn mine eye from thy fair object, which I will pursue, rich in thy love, proud of this interview.
I'll suck these accents. Let our breaths engender a generation of such pleasing sounds to interchange delights. Oh, my blood's on fire. Sweet, let me give more scope to true desire.
What wouldst thou more than our minds' firm contract?
Tut, words are wind. Thought unreduced to act is but an embryon in the truest sense.
I am beleaguered, I had need of sense. You make me blush. Play fair, yet above board.
Hear me exemplify love's Latin word together with thyself, as thus: hearts joined, amor. Take A from thence, then more is the perfect moral sense. Plural in manners, which in thee do shine saint-like, immortal, spotless, and divine. Take M away, or, in beauty's name, craves an eternal trophy to thy fame. Lastly, take O. In re stands all my rest, which I, in choicer style, do term a jest.
You break all modest bounds. Away, away.
So when men come behind, do women say,
Come, come, I say.
Ay, that's the word indeed. Men that come bold before are like to speed. But who comes here? Monstrum horrendum. My nostrils have the rank scent of knavery. Maria, let's remove ourselves to the window and observe this piece of man's flesh.
Scene closes. Scene 2. A street. Glister's house. Enter Lipsalve, disguised as Gerardine, and Shrimp.
Now, Mistress Maria, ward yourself. If my strong hope fail not, I shall be with you to bring...
To bring what, sir? Some more of your kind?
Faith, boy, that's mine aim.
I'll be sworn, sir, you have a good loose. You let's fly at him apace.
I have shot fair and far off, but now I hope to hit the mark indeed.
God save it.
But where's the sign?
Why, there.
That's a special thing to be observed.
I have heard talk of the Gemini. Methink that should be a star, favourable to your proceeding.
The Gemini? Oh, I apprehend thee. That's because I am so like Gerardine. Ah, it's not so, boy.
As if you would spit out on his mouth, sir. You must need be like him, for you are both cut out of a piece. But Lord, sir, how you hunt this chase of love! Are you not weary?
Indefatigable, boy, indefatigable.
Fatigable, quoth you? You may call it leanable well enough, for I am sure it is able to make a man lean.
'Tis my vocation, boy. We must never be weary of well-doing. Love's as proper to a courtier as preciseness to a Puritan.
Maria appears above, Gerardine concealing himself behind her. Shrimp, aside.
Love, Sabaldi last, a punk in this place, sub intelligitor.
Boy, I have spied my saint.
Then down on your knees.
Fly off, lest she take thee for my familiar. Save thee, sweet Maria! Nay, wonder not, for thou thyself art wonder, to see this unexpected gratulation.
Whom do I see? Oh, how my senses wander! Am not I Hero? Art not thou Leander?
Gerardine, aside.
Thou'rt in the right, sweet wench. More of that vein.
Her passion overcomes her. 'Tis the kindest soul. Oh, excellent device. It works, boy.
It does indeed, sir, like the suds of an ale-fat or a washing bowl.
Joy not too much. Extremes are perilous.
O weather-beaten love! Cicely, go make a fire. Go fetch my ladder of ropes. Leander's come.
Mark, how prettily in her rapture she harps upon Gerardine's travel. Let the ecstasy have end, for I am Gerardine.
Gerardine, aside.
The devil you are.
Huh? Let me see, my love so soon returned?
I never travelled farther than 9 eyes. My bruited journey was a happy project, to cast a mist before thy jealous guardian, who now, suspectless, gives some hope to attain my wished delight, before pursued in vain.
Ask if he strained not hard for that same project.
Hast not that project over-racked thy brain, and spent more wit than thou hast left behind?
Shrimp, aside.
By this light she flouts him.
No, wit is infinite. I spent some brain. Thy love did stretch my wit upon the tenters.
Gerardine, aside.
Then it's like to shrink in the wetting.
It cottons well. It cannot choose but bear a pretty nap. I tender thy capacity, a comfortable caudle, cherish it. But where's my favourite that I bid thee wear as pledge of my love?
Now dost thou put him to it, more tentis for his wit, he's non plus, quite.
I wear it, sweet Maria, but on high days. Preserve it from the tainting of the air.
Aside.
What should I say? 'Tis in my t'other hose?
How? In your t'other hose? He that I love shall wear my favour in those hose he has on.
Lipsalve, aside.
Fiends and furies, block that I am.
Shrimp, aside.
In your t'other hose? She talked of a ladder of ropes. If she would let it down, for my life he would hang himself in't. In your t'other hose? Why, those hose are in lavender. Besides, they have never a codpiece, but indeed there needs no ivy where the wine is good. In your t'other hose.
I said you were too prodigal of wit.
Expostulate no more. Grant me access, or else I'll travel to the wilderness.
Your only way. Go, travel till you tire, be rid, and let a gull discharge the hire.
Master, the doctor, the doctor!
Where? Which way?
This way, that way, some way. I heard him coming.
Oh boy, I am abused, gulled, disgraced. My credit's cracked.
You know that's nothing, you, for a courtier.
Oh, I shall run beside myself.
No, sir, that's my office. I'll run by your side.
My brain is out of temper. What should I do?
Take her counsel, sir. Get a colours to your capacity, a restorative to your reason, and a warming pan to your wit. He comes, he comes.
Follow close, boy. Let him not see us.
Exeunt Lipsalve and Shrimp. Enter Glister.
What? More flutterers about my carrion? More battery to my walls? Shall I never be rid of these petronel flashes? As for my friend Gerardine, the wind of my rage has blown him to discover countries, and let the sea purge his love away and him together, I care not. Young wenches now are all of the hoy. We that are guardians must respect more besides titles, gold lace, person, or parts. We must have lordships and manors elsewhere as well as in the man. Wealth commands all, and wealth I'll have, or else my minion shall lead apes in hell. I must after this gallant too. I know his rendezvous and what company he keeps.
Exit.
Now we must be abrupt. Retire, sweet friend, to thy small ease. What more remains to do we'll consummate at our next interview.
So shall I bear my prisonment with pleasure. Look thou but big, our cruel foe will yield, and give to Hymen the honour of the field.
Exeunt above. Scene 3. A street before the meeting house of the family of Love. Enter Mistress Purge, Club carrying a link before her.
Fie, fie, Club, go out t'other side the way. Thou collarest me and my ruff. Thou wilt make me an unclean member in the congregation.
If you be unclean, mistress, you may pure yourself. You have my master's wear at your commandment. But what am I, then, that does all the drudgery in your house?
Thou'rt born to it. Why, boy, I can show thy indentures. Thou givest no other milk. We know how to use all in their kind.
You're my better in bark and rind, but in pith and substance I may compare with you. You're above me in flesh, mistress, and there's your boast. But in my t'other part we are all one before God.
Enter Dryfat.
All one with me? Dost thou swear too? Why then, up and ride.
Whither away, Mistress Purge?
To the family, Master Dryfat. To our exercise.
What, by night?
Oh Lord, aye, sir, with the candles out too. We fructify best in the dark. The glance of the eye is a great matter. It leads us to other objects besides the right.
Indeed, I think we perform those functions best when we are not thrall to the fetters of the body.
The fetters of the body? What call you them?
The organs of the body, as some term them.
Organs? Fie, fie, they have a most abominable squeaking sound in mine ears. They edify not a whit. I detest them. I hope my body has no organs.
To speak more familiarly, Mistress Purge, they are the senses, the sight, hearing, smelling, taste, and feeling.
Ay, marry. Marry, said I. Lord, what word's that in my mouth? You speak now, Master Dryfat, but yet let me tell you where you err too. This feeling I will prove to be neither organ nor fetter. It is a thing. A sense, did you call it?
Aye, a sense.
Why then, a sense let it be. I say it is that we cannot be without. For, as I take it, it is a part belonging to understanding. Understanding, you know, lifteth up the mind from earth. If the mind be lift up, you know the body goes with it. Also it descends into the conscience, and there tickles us with our works and doings, so that we make singular use of feeling.
And not of the rest?
Not at that time. Therefore we hold it not amiss to put out the candles, for the soul sees best in the dark.
You come to me now, Mistress Purge.
Enter Purge behind.
Nay, I will come to you else, Master Dryfat. These senses, as you term them, are of much efficacy in carnal mixtures. That is, when we crowd and thrust a man and a woman together.
Purge, aside.
What? So close at it? I thought this was one end of your exercise. By Our Lady, I think there's small profit in this. I'll wink no more, for I'm now tickled with a conceit that it is a scurvy thing to be a cuckold.
I commend this zeal in you, Mistress Purge. I desire much to be of your society.
Do you indeed? Blessing on your heart. Are you upright in your dealings?
Yes, I do love to stand to anything I do, though I lose by it. In truth, I deal but too truly for this world. You shall hear how far I am entered in the right way already. First, I live in charity, and give small alms to such as be not of the right sect. I take under 20 in the 100, nor no forfeiture of bonds, unless the law tell my conscience I may do't. I set no pot on o' Sundays, but feed on cold meat dressed o' Saturdays. I keep no holy days nor fasts, but eat most flesh o' Fridays of all days of the week. I do use to say inspired graces able to starve a wicked man with length. I have Aminadabs and Abrahams to my godsons, and I chide them when they ask me blessing. And I do hate the red letter more than I follow the written verity.
Purge aside.
Here's clergy.
These are the rudiments indeed, Master Dryfoot.
Nay, I can tell you I am, or will be, of the right stamp.
Purge aside.
A poxious stamp.
Then learn the word for your admittance, and you will be much made on by the congregation.
Ay, the word, good Mistress Purge.
A brother in the family.
Enough, I have my lesson.
Purge aside.
So have I mine. A brother in the family. I must be a familist today. I'll follow this gear while 'tis on foot, if faith.
Then shore up your eyes, and lead the way to the goodliest people that ever turned up the white of the eye. Give me my book, Club. Put out thy link, and come behind us.
Dryfat knocks at the door of the meeting-house.
Who's there?
2 brothers and a sister in the family.
Mistress Purge, Dryfat, and Club enter the house. Then Purge knocks at the door.
Who's there?
A familiar brother.
Here's no room for you, nor your familiarity.
How? No room for me nor my familiarity? Why, what's the difference between a familiar brother and a brother in the family? Oh, I know. I made ellipsis of in this place where it should have been expressed, so that the want of in put me clean out. Or let me see, may it not be some mystery drawn from arithmetic? For my life these familists love no subtraction, take nothing away, but put in and add so much as you will. And after addition follows multiplication of a most Pharisite hypocritical crew. Well, for my part, I like not this family, nor indeed some kind of private lecturing that women use. Look to it, you that have such gadders for your wives. Self-willed they are as children, and, i' faith, capable of not much more than they. Peevish by custom, naturally fools. I remember a pretty wooden sentence in a preamble to an exercise, where the reader prayed that men of his coat might grow up like cedars to make good wainscot in the house of sincerity. Would not this wainscot phrase be writ in brass, to publish him that spake it for an animal? Why, such wooden pellets out of earthen trunks do strike these females into admiration, hits 'em home, sometimes, perhaps, in at one ear and out at t'other, and then they depart, in opinion wiser than their neighbours, fraught with matter able to take down and mortify their husbands. Well, I'll home now, and bring the true word next time. I shall expect my wife anon, red hot with zeal and big with melting tears, and this night I do expect, as her manner is, she will weep me a whole chamber pot full. Loquorlopedes? Do I cast pills abroad? 'Tis no matter what I say. I talk like apothecary, as I am. I have only purged myself of a little choler and passion, and am now armed with a patient resolution. But how? To put my horns in my pocket? No. What wise men bear is not for me to scorn. 'tis an honourable thing to wear the horn.
Exit. Scene 4. Lipsalve's chamber. Enter Lipsalve without his doublet, a whip in his hand.
Fortune, devil's turd in thy teeth. I'll turn no more thy wheel, art is above thy might. What though my project with Mistress Maria failed? More ways to the wood than one? There's variety in love. It is believed I am out of town. My door is open, the hour is at hand, all things squared by the doctor's rule. And now I look for the spirit to bring me warm comfort to clothe my nakedness, and that is Mistress Purge, the cordial of a familist. And come quickly, good spirit, or else my teeth will chatter for thee.
Scene shuts. Scene 5. Before Lipsalve's chamber door. Enter Gudgeon without his doublet, a whip in his hand.
Oh, the naked pastimes of love, the scourge of dullness, the purifier of uncleanness, and the hothouse of humanity. I have taken physic of Master Purge any time this 12 months to purge my humour upon his wife, and I have ever found her so fugitive from exercise to exercise and from family to family that I could never yet open the close stool of my mind to her, so that I may well say with Ovid, He mihi quod nullis amor est medicabilis herbis. Now am I driven to prove the violent virtue of conjuration. If it hit, and that I yerk my familist out of the spirit, I'll hang up my scourge stick for a trophy, and then paradise my thoughts. Though the doctor go to the devil, 'tis no matter. Ah, let me see. Lipsalve's door open and himself out of town. Excellent doctor, soothsaying doctor, oraculous doctor.
Enters the chamber. Scene 6. Lipsalve's chamber. Lipsalve discovered as before. Glister watching above. Glister aside.
I have taken up this standing to see my gallants play at barriers with scourge sticks for the honour of my punk.
Enter Gudgeon.
And in good time I see my brave spirit shining in bright armour, nakedly burning in the hell fire of lechery, and ready for the hot encounter. Sound trumpets, the combatants are mounted.
The apparition? Mistress Purge peers through him. I see her.
The spirit appears, but he might have come sooner. I am numbed with cold. A shivering ague has taken away my courage.
Glister aside.
They are afraid one of another. Look how they tremble. The flesh and the devil strengthen 'em. Ha ha ha.
Has he no cloven feet? What a laxative fever shakes me.
Will he not carry me with him to hell? Well, I must venture. Clogmathos.
My cue. Clogmathathos.
My cue. Garazin.
Garagas.
Garazinos.
Tontetufon.
Tes tetophes.
With a whirly twinos.
They lash one another.
Hold, hold, hold!
Gog's nouns, Gog's blood!
A pox, a plague, the devil take you!
Truce, truce, I smart, I smart!
Glister aside.
Ha ha ha! Oh, for one of the hoops of my Cornelius tub! I must needs be gone. I shall burst myself with laughing else. Magic hath no such rule. Men cannot find lust ever better handled in his kind.
Exit above.
What art thou? With the name of Jove I conjure thee.
With any name saving the whip, I'll no more of that conjuration. A plague on't.
Speak, art not a spirit in the likeness of my friend Lipsalve that should transform thyself to Mistress Purge?
How? A spirit? I hope spirits have no flesh and blood, and I am sure thou hast drawn blood out of my flesh with the spirit of thy whip.
Then shall we prove to be honest girls, and the doctor an errant knave?
A plague upon him for a glister! He has given our loves a suppositor with a recombentibus. I'll tell thee, sinner.
Tell not me. Let me prevent thee. The wind shall not take the breath of our gross abuse. We feel the gullery. Therefore, let us swear by our naked truths, and by the hilts of these our blades, our flesh tamers, to be revenged upon that para-peropandentical doctor, that pocky doctor.
Agreed. We'll cuckold him, that he shall not be able to put his head in its doors, and make his precise, puritanical, and peculiar punk, his pothecary's drug there, a known cockatrice to the world.
If report catch this knavery, we have lost our reputations for ever. Wherefore, let's be secret. Ill tax we women of credulity, when men are gulled with such gross foppery.
Come, let us in and cover both our shames. This conjuration to the world's a novelty. Gallants turned spirits and whipped for lechery.
Exeunt. Scene 7. Maria's apartment. Enter Maria.
Geraldine, come forth, Maria calls. Those ribs shall not enfold thy buxom limbs 1 minute longer. The cincture of mine arms shall more securely keep thy soul from harms.
Gerardine, coming out of the trunk.
What heavenly breath of Phaetonessa's power, that raised the dead corpse of her friend to life, prevails no less on me. For even this urn, the figure of my sadder requiem, gives up my bones, my love, my life, and all, to her that gives me freedom in my thrall.
Be brief, sweet friend, salute and part in one. For niggard time now threats with imminent danger our late joyed scope. Thy earnest then of love, ere soul have compassed half the signs, I fear will show a blushing fault, but 'twas thine aim, to force consent in him that bars thy claim.
Love solves that fault. Let time our guilt reveal. I'll ne'er deny my deed, my hand and seal. The elements shall lose their ancient force. Water and earth suppress the fire and air. Nature in all use a preposterous course. Each kind forget his likeness to repair. Before I'll falsify my faith to thee.
The humorous body's elemental kind shall sooner lose the innate heat of love. The soul in nature's bounds shall be confined. Heaven's course shall retrograde and leave to move. Ere I surcease to cherish mutual fire, with thoughts refined in flames of true desire.
These words are odors in the sacred shrine of love's best deity. The marriage god longs to perform these ceremonious rites which terminate our hopes. Till mine grow full, I'll use that intercourse amongst my friends that erst I did. Then in the height of joy, I'll come to challenge interest in my boy. Till then, farewell.
You'll come upon your cue?
Doubt not of that.
Then 20 times, adieu.
Exeunt. End of Act 3. Act 4 of The Family of Love by Thomas Middleton, Thomas Dekker, and Lording Barry. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or how to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 4, Scene 1. A street before the meeting house of the Family of Love. Enter Lepsolve, Gudgeon, Shrimp, and Periwinkle.
Come, boys, our clothes, boys! And what is the most current news, Periwinkle?
Faith, sir, fortune has favoured us with no news but what the pedlar brought from Norfolk.
Is there nothing stirring at court, Shrimp?
Faith, there is, sir, but nothing new.
Good wag, Faith. Thou smellest somewhat of a courtier, though thou mother was a citizen's wife. Off with that filthy great band. Nay, quick, on with your robe of sanctity. Nay, suddenly, man.
And why must we shift ourselves into this demure habit, if impossible to be of the family and keep our own fashion?
Tut, man, The name of a gallant is more hateful to them than the sight of a corner cap. Hadst thou heard the protestations the wife of a bellows mender made but yesternight against gallants, thou hadst for ever abjured crimson breeches. She swore that all gallants were persons inferior to bellows menders, for the trade of bellows making was very aerial and high. And what were men and women but bellows, for they take wind in at one place, and do evaporate at another. Evaporate was her very phrase.
Methinks her phrase flew with somewhat too strong a vapour.
Nay, she proves farther that all men receive their being chiefly from bellows, without which the fire burns not. Without fire the pot seethes not. The pot not seething, powdered beef is not to be eaten, of which she then averred our nation was a great devourer, and without which they could neither fight for their country abroad, nor get children at home. For, said she, powdered beef is a great joiner of nerves together.
What answer madest thou?
Marry, that I thought a board was a greater joiner of nerves together than powdered beef. With that she protested that a board was an instrument of the devil, and as she had proved that bellows menders were of God's trade, so boards were of the devil's trade. For, and thereupon she blew her nose, the devil and boards did both live by the sins of the people.
No more. Mistress Purge is at hand.
Vanish, boys! Away!
Exeunt Shrimp and Periwinkle.
Make haste! Before Jove she'll be with us ere we can be provided for her.
They retire. Enter Mistress Purge, Club carrying a link before her.
Advance your link, Club. At what time wert thou bound, Club? At Gottide, Hollandtide, or Candletide?
I was bound, indeed, about midsummer.
And when hath thy apprenticeship end? At Mickletide next.
So I take it.
They say, Club, you fall very heavy on such you love not. You never learnt that of me.
Indeed, mistress, I must confess my fallen is rustic, gross, and butcher-like. Mary, yours is a pretty, foolish, light, court-like falling. Yet, believe me, my master smells somewhat too gross of the purgation. He wants tutoring.
And why, I pray?
My master being set last night in his shop, comes Master Dr. Glister, as his manner is, squirtin' in suddenly, and after some conference tells my master that, by his own knowledge, you were young with child. To which my master replied, Why, Master Doctor, will you put me to more charges yet?
Thou art a fool, and that my husband spake as wisely as if the master of his company had spoke. He knows doctors have receipts for women, which makes them most apt to conceive, and he promising he administered the same lately to me. Thereupon spake it. Lead on with your link.
Art ready?
Ready.
Then speak pitifully, look scurvily, and dissemble cunningly, and we shall quickly prove two of the fraternity.
Advancing with Gudgeon.
Benediction and sanctity, love and charity fall on Mistress Purge, sister of the family.
And what, I pray, be you two?
Two newly converted from the rags of Christianity to become good members in the house of the family.
Who, I pray, converted you?
Master Dryfat, the merchant.
And from what sins hath he converted you?
From two very notorious crimes. The first was from eating fish on Fridays, and the second from speaking reverently of the clergy. But he resolved as your talent in edifying young men went far beyond his.
Enter Purge behind.
A talent I have therein, I must confess, nor am I very nice at fit times to show it. For your better instructions, therefore, you must never hereafter frequent taverns, nor tap-houses, no masques, nor mummeries, no pastimes, nor playhouses.
Must we have no recreation?
Yes, on the days which profane lips call holy days, you may take your spaniel and spend some hours at the docking pond.
what are we bound unto during the time we remain in the family?
During the light of the candle, you are to be very attentive.
Whispers.
Which, being extinguished, how to behave yourselves I will deliver in private.
Purge aside.
'Tis now come to a whisper. What young families be these? I' faith, I'll make one. I'll trip you, wife. I sent your footing, wife. For Galen writes, Paracelsus can tell, apothecaries have brains, and noses eke to smell.
We shall with much diligence observe it.
Purge aside.
I fear I shall have small cause to thank that diligence. But do your worst. He that hath read 5 herbals in 1 year can find a trick which shall prevent this gear. They are going. Follow, Purge, close, close, and softly, like a horsekeeper in a lady's matted chamber at midnight.
Mistress Purge knocks at the door of the meeting-house.
Who knocks?
Brethren, and a sister in the family.
Enter in peace.
Mistress Purge, Lipsalve, Gudgeon, and Club enter the house.
Brethren and a sister? That's the word. How beastly I was mistaken last day. I should have said a brother in the family, and I said a familiar brother, for which I and my family were thrust out of doors. But as Titus Silas of Auburn Bridge most learnedly was wont to say, QD.
Knocks.
Who's there?
A brother in the family.
Enter, and welcome.
Purge enters the house. Scene 2, a street. Enter Gerardine, disguised as a porter.
Thou sacred deity, love, thou power predominate, more to be admired than able to be expressed, whose orb includes all terrene joys which are, all states which be paid to thy sacred throne, as tribute fee their thoughts and lives. Like Jove's, so must thy acts endure no question. Why, thy hidden facts the gods themselves obey. Heaven's synod holds no gods but what thy awful power controls. The Delphian archer proud with Python's spoil, at Cupid's hand was forced to take the foil. Nor Mars his star-like adamantine targe could free his warlike breast at Cupid's charge. And Jove, whose frown all mortal lives bereaves, his marble throne an ivory sceptre leaves, and in the likeness of a bull was seen, as forced by him to bear the Tyrian queen through Neptune's watery kingdom. If these submit, my metamorphose is not held unfit. And see, in most wished occasion, Dryfat the merchant presents himself.
Enter Dryfat.
Sir, in the best of hours met, my thoughts had marked ye out for a man most apt to do them the fairest of offices.
What? Art thou a Welsh carrier or a northern landlord, thou'rt so saucy?
Is possible, sir, my disguise should so much fool your knowledge? How? A northern landlord? Can you think I get my living by a bell and a clack dish?
By a bell and a clack dish? How's that?
Why, by begging, sir. Know you me now?
Master Gerardine! Disguised and ashore! Nay, then I smell a rat.
Master Dryfat, shall I repose some trust in you? Will you lay by a while your city's precise humour? Will you not deceive me?
If I deceive your trust, the general plague seize me. That is, may I die a cuckold.
And I say thou shalt die a true citizen, if thou conceal it. And thus in brief, it stands with thy knowledge how seriously I have, and do still affect Maria. Now, sir, I have so wrought it, that if thou couldst procure me a fellow that could serve instead of a crier, I myself would play Placket the parroter, and summon Dr. Glister and Maria to appear at thy house. And as I play the parroter, so wouldst thou but assume the shape of a proctor, I should have the wench, thou the credit, and the whole city occasion of discourse this 9 days.
How's this? How's this? I should procure a fellow to play the crier, and I myself should play the proctor. But upon what occasion should they be summoned?
Upon accusation that Dr. Callisto should get Maria his niece with child, and have bastards in the country, which I have a trick to make probable.
And now I recall it to memory. I heard somewhat to that effect last night in Master Beardbush the barber's shop. But how will this sort? Who shall accuse him?
Refer that to me, I say. Be that my care. All shall end in merriment, and no disgrace touch either of their reputations.
Then take both word and hand. 'Tis done. Club, Mistress Purger's prentice, shall be the crier.
O my most precious Dryfat, may none of thy daughters prove vessels with foul bungholes, or none of thy sons hogsheads, but all true and honourable Dryfats like thyself.
Well, Master Gerardine, I hope to see you a familist before I die.
That's most likely, for I hold most of their principles already. I never rail nor calumniate any man but in love and charity. I never cozen any man for any ill will I bear him, but in love and charity to myself. I never make my neighbour a cuckold for any hate or malice I bear him, but in love and charity to his wife.
And may those principles fructify in your weak members. I'll be gone, and with the most quick dexterity provide you a crier. Tomorrow at my house, said you, they should appear?
Be that the time, most honoured Dryfat. But be this known to none, most loved sir, save Club, or to some other whom your judgment shall select as a fit person for our project.
Thus enough. Time out of sight.
Exit.
Maria, thou art mine, earth's perfection and nature's glory. Woman, of what an excellency, if her thoughts and acts were squared and levelled with the first solicitude of her creation, to enjoy a creature whose dishevelled locks, like gems against the repercussive sun, gives light and splendour, whose star-like eyes attract more gazers' love to see their remove than the Titanian god, when Aegean's hill in mounts in triumph, a skin more pure and soft than is the silkworm's bed, teeth more white than new-fallen snow, or shining ivory, is happiness sought by the gods themselves. Celestial Venus, born without a mother, be thou propitious. Thee do I implore, not vulgar Venus, heaven's scorn and Mars' whore.
Exit. Scene 3. A room in Glister's house. Enter Mistress Glister and Maria.
Good aunt, quiet yourself. Ground not upon dreams, you know they are ever contrary.
Minion, minion, coin no excuses. I grant dreams are deceitful, but a true judgment grounded upon knowledge never fails. What! Have not I observed the rising and falling of the blood, the coming and going of the countenance, your qualms, your unlacings, your longings? Most evident tokens. Besides a more certain sign than all these, too. You know it, I need not speak it. Nay, I am as skilful in that point as my husband. I can tell you, Aristotle speaks English enough to tell me these secrets. Body of me, so narrowly looked to, and yet fly out. Well, I see mates will have it in spite of laws or locks that restrain them. They will open, do men what they can.
I see my fault appears. Simplicity hath no evasion. 'Tis bootless to deny where guilty blood, sighted by touch of shame, runs through my veins, and leaves my conscience stain, even in my face. Forbear, I do beseech you, to publish my defame. What I have done you shall not answer, I must bear my own.
Bear your own? I marry, there it goes. What must you bear?
My sins, forsooth.
Your sins, forsooth. Confess to me, and go not about the bush. You have been doing, that's flat. You have caught a clap, that's round. And answer me roundly to the point, or else I'll square. Come, whose act is it? I cannot devise unless it be my husband's, for none else had access to thee. Oh, I am sure time has turned his bald side to thee, and I do but wonder how thou tookest opportunity. Speak. Tell me.
Now, good aunt, press me not. Let time reveal what you suspect. For never shall my tongue confess an act that tends unto my wrong.
Enter Gerardine, disguised as a porter.
Will you not bolt? I must have it out on you, and will.
By your leave, mistress.
Passion of my heart, what art thou?
No ghost, forsooth, though I appear in white.
No, but a saucy knave I perceive by your manners.
None of that livery neither. I am of the bearing trade, forsooth. You may see by my frock, I would say. I am, if it please you, of the spick and span you set up company of porters. Here's my breastplate, and besides our own arms, we have the arms of the city to help us in our burdens. It's a signum. Here's the cross and the sword of justice and good pewter, I can tell you, which grows as current with us as better metal.
What's your name, sir?
Nicholas Nebulo. There's but a straw's breadth between that and the arms. 'Tis in the backside of the cross here, and well known in the city for an ancient name and an honest, ain't like your worship.
You are none of the 12, are you?
No, forsooth, but one of the 24.
Orders of knaves. I thought so. Sirrah, you're a rascal to come thus bluntly into my house with your dirty startups. Get you without doors, like a filthy fellow as you are. A place more fit for you.
Oh, good words, mistress. I may be warden of my company for aught you know, and for my bluntness we have a clause in our charter to warrant that. For as we bear, so likewise we may be borne with, and have free egress and regress where our business lies.
And what's your business here?
I have a letter, and please you, to Master Doctor.
Mistress Glister, taking the letter.
From whence?
That I cannot show your worship, but I had it of Curtal the carrier, whose lawful deputy I am.
Leave your scraping, sirrah. Fie, how rank the knave smells of grease and taps droppings.
Gerardine coughs and spits.
What? Are you rheumatic too, with a vengeance?
Yes, indeed, mistress. Though I be but a poor man, I have a spice of the gentleman in me. Master Doctor could smell it quickly, because he's a gentleman himself. I'm used to the diet, and that is tobacco at the alehouse. I use no other physic for it.
Did ever such a peasant defile my floor, or breathe so near me? I'faith, sirrah, you would be bummed for your roguery, if you were well served.
I am bummed well enough already, mistress. Look here, else. Sir Reverence in your worship, Master Doctor's lips are not made of better stuff.
What an impudent rogue is this! Sirrah, be gone, I say. I would be rid of you.
Be rid of me? I shall gallop, then. You mistake me, forsooth. I am a foot-post. I do not use to ride.
I think the rascal be humorous or drunk. Well, I will read the letter and send him packing, or else he will spew or do worse before me. Fie on him, I think he will infect me with some filthy disease.
Reads the letter. Gerardine, aside.
Or else I lose my name.
Mistress Glister.
What's here?
Reads.
Your poor nurse, Thomasine. Tweedles? For my life, now shall I find out my husband's knavery I have so long suspected.
Gerardine, aside.
She begins to nibble. 'Twill take faith. Mistress, I see some discontentment in your looks. Care ill befits so delicate a spirit. Be frolic, wench, for he that is so near thee has been much nearer.
That accent sounds sweet music. 'Tis my love. That tongue breathes life into my lifeless spirits. Gerardine? O rapture! Why thus disguised?
No more. Be mute. Thus must our very forms to bring our cares to end. Her jealousy ensues this drift, which, if it take true scope, love's joy comes next. Be fearless in that hope.
'Tis so. Ratsbane. I have it. It racks on. It torments me. Here 'tis.
Reads.
Woe worth the time that ever I gave suck to a child that came in at the window, God knows how. Villainous lecher! Yet if you did but see how like the pert little red-headed knave is to his father. Damnable doctor! A bastard in the country, and another towards here. I am out of doubt this is his work. You are an arrant strumpet. Incest, fornication, abomination in my own house. Intolerable. Oh, for long nails to scratch out his eyes.
Are the breeches to fight with him?
Out of my sight, queen. Thou shalt to Bridewell. Oh, I shall be mad with rage.
Oh, then you shall go to Bedlam.
Hence, you slave.
I must have a penny. You must pay me for my pains.
The devil pay thee.
Oh, that's the doctor. But he wants his horns.
Oh, but I'll furnish him ere long, if I live.
Gerardine, aside.
It works as I would wish. Farewell, Maria. This storm once past, fair weather ever after.
Exit.
Was ever woman so moved? But you shall be talked withal. And for mine old fornicator, he shall have it as hot as coals in faith. Here's stuff indeed. Come, minx, come. There's law for you both. Have I found your knavery? If I wink at this, let me be stone blind or stoned to death. Bear this, and bear all.
Exeunt. Scene 4. A street. Enter Lipsalve, Gudgeon, Shrimp, and Periwinkle.
Our hopes are crossed. Sure there's some providence which countermands libidinous appetites, for what we most intend is counterchecked by strange and unexpected accidents. For by disguise procuring full access, nay, ready to have seized the expected prize, the candle out steps twixt my hopes and me some peasant groom, possessed and full enjoyed that sweet for which our vigilant eyes have watched, and in one moment frustrates all our hopes.
Upon my life, we are bewitched. The greasy rascal that first seized Mistress Purge by the last reflection of the light appeared to my sight not much unlike her husband.
The court's gall, the city's plague, and Europa's sea form be his perpetual crest, whatever he was. To lose Mistress Purge for lack of dexterity is a disgrace insalvable. The like opportunity will never present itself.
'Twas an egregious grief, I must confess, to see a knave slip betwixt us both and take occasion by the foretop. But since these projects have had so star-cross events, let's lay some plot. How to revenge our late disgrace on the doctor by making him cuckold.
Enter Purge.
Agreed. But what melancholy, sir, with acrostic arms now comes from the family?
Purge the apothecary. I prithee, let's step aside and hear the issue of this discontent.
They retire with the 2 pages.
Oh, the misery of married men's estate.
Lipsalve, aside.
He begins very pitifully.
Oh, women, what are many of you?
Lipsalve, aside.
Why, disease to bachelors and plagues to married men.
Oh, marriage, the rage of all our miseries. My wife is a dissembling strumpet.
Gudgeon, aside.
So is many a man's besides yours, and what of that?
I would have a law that all such which pray little should instantly be married. For then would they pray continually, if it were but to be rid of their wives.
Lipsalve, aside.
This is a charitable request, and surely would pass the lower house.
Surely, if affliction can bring a man to heaven, I cannot see how any married man can be damned. I have made myself a plain cuckold.
Gudgeon, aside.
Pile on ye, won't you? Had you not been so manable, here a son would have saved you that labour.
What shall I do in this extremity? Had I but witness of the fact, I would make her answer it before authority. This is my wedding ring. 'Tis it, I know it by the posy. I took this from her finger in the dark, and she was therewith very well pleased. Were not this trow a sufficient testimony? She knows not that it was myself got so near her. I will take counsel. Well, little know bachelors the miseries they undergo when they prostrate themselves to women.
Lipsalve, coming forward with Gudgeon.
O most true Master Purge, little knows a man what elements he is to pass when he puts his head under a woman's girdle. Your passion, Master Purge, is overheard, and, plain tale to tell, we were eye-witnesses of your wife's treachery, and, if need be, will be ready to depose as much.
What, Master Lipsalve and Master Gudgeon? Are you disguised testimonies? Nay then, revenge look big. Elf and fairy, help to revenge the wrong pothecary.
Why, now he speaks like himself. Get me a parroter for her, straight.
Conceal the ring, my little Purge. Let not thy wife know thou hast it until she comes to her trial.
Enter Dry Fat and Gerardine, disguised as an apparitor.
Your advices are very pithy. Therefore in private let me disclose my intent.
Off, boys!
Purge, Lipsalve, and Gudgeon retire.
What dost thou think of thy master? Is he not a regular?
I think he will swallow and pocket more disgraces than large conscienced lawyer fees in a Michaelmas term. Thy master, my honest shrimp, comes not much short of a fool too, but that he is a courtier.
Draw somewhat near, and overhear their conference.
Retires with Periwinkle.
This shape of the crier must club tomorrow, I assume. Are you fitted for Poppin the proctor?
Excellent, and have spent some study in the mystical cases of venery. I can describe how often a man may lie with another man's wife before he come to the white sheet.
How long is that?
Why, till he be taken tardy. How long all womankind may by the statute profess and swear they are maids.
And how long is that?
Why, till their bellies be so big that it cannot be no longer concealed. But come forward toward Glisters.
It must be so. Let the summer tickle her. You shall bring in these allegations, and let us alone to swear them.
Advancing with Purge and Gudgeon.
Who's this? Master Dryfat. Opportunely met, sir, and whither so fast? The news, the news.
Faith, gentlemen, I think to relate for news what I hear of Dr. Glister would come stale to your hearings.
Oh, the getting of his niece with child. Tut, that's apparently known to all the company. But in the name of Jupiter, what art thou? Or from whence camest thou?
Why, sir, I come from compassing the corners of the land.
Of what trade, in the name of Pluto?
Of the devil's trade, for I live as he does, by the sins of the people. In brief, sir, I am Placket the parroter.
As the devil would. We have, my noble parroter, instant employment for thee. A grey groat is to be purchased without sneaking, my little Sumner. Where's thy quorum nomina, my honest Placket?
Sir, according to the old ballad, my quorum nomina ready have I with my pen and inkhorn hanging by. Her name, sir, her name?
It's no more but so?
I have most right to her name. Her name, Master Placket, is my wife, Mistress Purge, sir. To what place dost thou belong?
To the commissioners which sit tomorrow at Master Dryfat's upon the crimes of Dr. Glister and others.
Sits there a commission, Dryfat? Now, for the love of lechery, let's have Mistress Purge summoned thither.
She makes my quorum nomina reasonable full. My grant, sir, and she shall appear there upon the crime of concupiscence, Is not that your meaning?
Yes, my honest parroter, here's thy fee.
Giving money. Enter Mistress Purge and Club.
And see how happily it succeeds. Mistress Purge is new come from the family. Let us step aside whilst Placket the parroter gives her a summons.
Content. To her, Placket, but see for the bribery of 12p you strike her not out of your quorum nomina.
Fear not, sir.
Lipsolve, Gudgeon, Purge, and Dryfat retire.
Forward apace, Club.
Your name I take to be Mistress Purge, fair gentlewoman.
I am Mistress Purge. Purge's wife, apothecary. What of that?
Dryfat, aside.
Now you shall see him tickle her with a quorum nomina.
I cite you by virtue of my quorum nomina to make your personal appearance by 8 of the clock in the morning before certain commissioners at Master Dryfat's house, to answer to an accusation of a crime of concupiscence.
To answer a crime of concupiscence? What's that, I pray?
Why, 'tis to answer a venereal crime, for having carnal copulation with other besides your husband.
What are you, I pray?
By name Placket, by trade a parroter.
And must I answer, say you, to a venereal crime? I tell thee, Placket the parroter, I am able to answer thee or any man else in any venereal crime they'll put me to. And so, tell your commissioners.
If you fail your appearance, the penalty must fall heavy.
If it's fall never so heavy, I am able to bear it, and so set forward, Club.
Exit with Club. Lipsolve coming forward with the others.
Excellent, i' faith. After your wife, Purge. Read, Placket, thy quorum nomina, my noble groatmonger.
Exit Purge.
Silence! The first that marches in this fair rank is Strum the Feltmaker, for getting his maid with child and sending his prentice to Bridewell for the fact. Whip the Beadle, for letting a punk escape for a night's lodging and bribe of 10 groats. Bat the Bellman, for lying with a wench in a tailor's stall at midnight, when he should be performing his office. And Tipple the Tapster, for deflowering a virgin in his cellar. Dr. Glister, his wife, Maria, Mistress Purge. These be the complete number.
Now dissolve, and each to his occasion till tomorrow morning.
Exeunt severally. End of Act 4. Act 5 of The Family of Love by Thomas Middleton, Thomas Dekker, and Lording Barry. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Act 5, Scene 1. A room in Glister's house. Enter Dr. Glister and Mistress Glister.
This was your colour to keep her close, but what cloak have you for hers and your own shame? What, your own niece, your brother's daughter? Besides your bastard in the country.
Wife, range not too far, I would advise you. Come home in time, vex me not beyond sufferance. The 2-edged sword of thy tongue hath drawn blood o' me. Patience, I say, thou art all this while in an error.
No, thou hast been all this while in a urinal. Thou hast gone out of thy compass in women's waters. You're a conjurer, forsooth, and can rouse your spirits into circles. Ah, you old fornicator, that ever I saw that red beard of thine. Now could I rail against thy complexion. I think in my conscience the traces and caparison of Venus' coach are made of red hairs, which may be a true emblem that no flaxen stuff or tanned white leather draws love like them. I think thou manuredest thy chin with the droppings of eggs and muscadine before it bristled. A shame take thee and thy lodestone. But 'tis no matter. Master Placket the parroter has cited you, and you shall answer it.
Oh, the raging jealousy of a woman! Do you hear, wife? I will show myself a man of sense, and answer you with silence, or like a man of wisdom speak in brief. I say you are a scold, and beware the cucking stool.
Exit.
I say you are a ninny-hammer, and beware the cuckoo, for as sure as I have ware, I'll traffic with the next merchant venturer. And in good time, here comes gallants of the right trade.
Enter Lipsalve and Gudgeon, and Glister behind, watching them.
All alone, Mistress Glister? Meditating who shall be your next child's father?
Indeed, methinks that should be one end of her thought, and be but to cry quittance with our husband, of whose abuse the town rings.
Glister, aside.
Flax and fire, flax and fire! Here are fellows come in the nick to light their matches at my tinder.
He tells you true, Mistress Glister. The doctor hath made you ordinary in our ordinaries. Satires whet their tooths, and steep rods in piss. Epigrams lie in poetry's pickle, and we shall have rhyme out of all reason against you.
Ere long he will take up his station at a stationer's, where we shall see him do penance in a sheet at least.
Oh, I am nettled. My patience is so provoked that I must doff my modesty. What shall I do? If you be honest gentlemen, counsel me in my revenge. Teach me what to do. Make my case your own.
Why, you are in the common road of revenge. Take which hand you will, you cannot go out of your way. 'Tis as soon taken as time by his forepart.
Faith, since he has struck with the sword, strike you with the scabbard. In plain terms, cuckold him. You may as easily do it as lie down o'er your bed.
Glister, aside.
This gear cottons a faith.
I apprehend you, gentlemen. Lord, how much better are two heads than one, to make one large head.
You say true, Mistress Glister. There's help required in grafting, and how happily we come to tender our service. Let our pretence be to take physic of the doctor, and that he may with as much ease minister to us as we to you, we'll take a lodging in his house.
How say you to this? Is the colour good, dost like you?
Passing well. The colour is so good that you shall wear my favour out of the same piece.
Excellent. Excellent. Now shall we be revenged for the whipping. Mistress Glister, let me be your first man.
Nay, soft, sir. I plied her as soon as you.
Glister, aside.
I should have an oar in her boat too, by right.
How ill-advised were you to marry one with a red beard.
Oh, Master Lipsalve, I am not the first that has fallen under that ensign. There's no complexion more attractive in this time for women than gold and red beards. Such men are all liver.
Ay, but small heart and less honesty.
Yes, they are honest too in some kind, for they'll beg before they'll steal.
That's true, for one that holds up his hands at the sessions, you shall have 10 come into the bawdy court.
Glister, aside.
Was ever beard so back-bitten? This were enough to make red beards turn medley, and dash 'em clean out of countenance. But I hope, like mine, they fear no colours. And you were 10 courtiers, I'll front you. I must give you physic with a pox. Well, I'll pepper ye not, call me Dr. Doddypall.
Comes forward.
Master Lipsalve and Master Gudgeon, you are heartily welcome. I am very glad to see you well.
Oh, Master Doctor, your salutation is very suspicious.
Why, Master Lipsalve?
It can scarce be hearty, for physicians are rather glad to see men ill than well.
Not so, sir. You must distinguish of men, though this I know, virtue is not the end of all science, which commonly keeps the professor poor. Some study questuary and gainful arts, and every one would thrive in's calling. But i' faith, gentlemen, what wind drives you hither?
The wind, colic, Master Doctor, or some such disease.
But not the stone colic?
Oh, no, sir. We have no obstructions in those parts. We are loose enough there.
If you were troubled with that, my wife can tell you of an excellent remedy.
We need it not, we need it not. But indeed, Master Doctor, For some private infirmities which our waters shall make known to you, we desire to take some physic of you for a few days, and to that end we would take a lodging in your house during the time.
Shall we entreat your favour?
No entreaty, gentlemen. You shall command me to search the very profundity of my skill for you. Have them in, wife, and show them their lodging. I will think upon another receipt, and follow you immediately.
And i' faith, we shall requite your pains to the full.
Exeunt Mistress Glister, Lipsalve, and Gudgeon.
To the fool, you mean. I know you have a horn of plenty for me, which you would derive unto me from the liberality of your bodies, not your minds. Here are lords that, having learned the OPQ of courtship, travel up and down among citizens' wives to show their learning and bringing up, as if the city were not already a good proficient in the court horn book. Yes, I warrant they have heads as capable as other men, aye, and some of them can wisely say with the philosopher, that in knowing all they know nothing. Well, because I am the livery, and pay scot and lot amongst you, do but observe how I'll fetch over my gallants for your sakes. They say I am of the right hair, and indeed they may stand to it, and hold the position good, saving with my wife. Soft, are they not at pro and contra already? I know they are hot spurs, and I must have an eye to the main. They have been whipped already for lechery, and yet the pride of the flesh pricks 'em. Well, I must in. I have given them such a pill shall take 'em down, for lust must have his fill.
Exit. Scene 2. Another room in Glister's house. Enter Maria, above.
Now nature's pencil and the hand of time gives life and limb to generation's act. My shame and guilt in wordless notes appear, the argument of scorn. Oh, now I stand, the theme and comment to each liberal tongue, whilst hope breeds comfort and fear threats my wrong. O Gerardine, how oft thy lively figure, deeply impressed in my yielding temper, assures me thou art mine. How fancy paints thy true proportion in my troubled sleep, because sole subject of my daily thoughts. Oh, if thy vows prove feigned and thou unjust, I say and swear in men there is no trust.
Enter Gerardine.
Thus have I passed the round and court of God, without the word. Either conceit is strong, or else the body, where true love's confined, walks as a spirit, and doth force its way through greatest dangers, frightful to those eyes that wait to intercept him. Maria! How like to Cynthia in her silver orb she seems to me, attended by love's lamp, whose mutual influence and so sympathy doth show heaven's model immortality.
Gerardine? Aurora, nor the blushing sun's approach, dart not more comfort to this universe than thou to me. Most acceptably come. The art of number cannot count the hours thou hast been absent.
Infinity of love holds no proportion with arithmetic. Think not, Maria, but my heart retains a deep impression of such thoughts as these. I have been forging of a mirthful plot to celebrate our wished conjunction, which, now digested, come to summon thee to be an actress in the comedy.
How, where, when? Speak, mine ears are quick to hear. I stand on thorns already to be there.
At Dreyfat's house, the merchant, there's our scene, whose sequel, if I fail not in intent, shall answer our desires and each content. But when sawest thou Lipsalve and Gudgeon, our two gallants?
They are in the house, so handled by mine uncle that they are the pitifullest patients that ever you beheld.
No matter, he serves them in their kind. They were infamous in the court, and now are grown as notorious in the city. They may happily prove particles in our sport, and fit subjects for laughter. Time calls me hence. Adieu. Prepare to meet.
I shall outstrip the nimblest in my feet.
Exeunt severally. Scene 3. A room in Dreyfat's house. Enter Dreyfat, disguised as a proctor, and Club as a crier.
Come, Club, come, there's a merry fray towards. We shall see the death of melancholy. wherein thou and I must call a grand jury of jests together, and pass upon them with the club law.
Now, as I am old a crier, and yet but a young club, I have not yet practised that law. You have a whole dry fat on't. I pray you, instruct me.
Why, 'tis a law enacted by the Common Council of Statute Caps, to qualify the rage of the time, to follow, to call back, and sometimes to encounter gentlemen when they run in arrearages. I tell thee there's no averment against our bookcases. 'Tis the law called make-peace, and it makes them even when they're at odds. It shows 'em a flat case as plain as a packstaff, that is, knocks 'em down without circumstance.
Ay, marry, I like that law well. 'Tis studied with the turning of a hand. There's no quidditch nor peddler's French in it. There needs no book for the exposition of the terms. 'Tis as easily learned as the felling of wood and getting of children. All is but laying on load the downright blow.
Ay, and by the way of exhortation it prints this moral sentence on their costards in capital letters: Agree, for the law is costly.
Good, good. But all this while there's no doctor thought on. We must have one to arbitrate.
Why, Master Gerardine, man, has his name for the purpose. He shall be called Dr. Stickler. Lupus est in fabula. Here he comes.
Enter Gerardine.
How now, lads? Does our conceit cotton? How you summoned your wits from wool-gathering? Are you fraught with matter for this merriment?
Fool, fool! We are in labour, man, and we shall die without midwifery.
We are ravaged with delight, like the wench that was got with child against her stomach. Oh, but if we could wrest this smock law now in hand to our club law, it were excellent.
Easily, easily. All shall be called the club law.
As how?
Why, thus. Club is the crier. I am Poppin the proctor, and you Stickler the doctor. He calls them to appear. I must be of their counsel, and you must atone them. Put 'em together. We may know their cases and be in their elements, mark you me, but they cannot be in ours. Tut! None knows our secrets. We can speak fustian above their understanding, and make asses' ears attentive. I'll play ambidexter, tell 'em 'tis a plain case, and put 'em down with the club law, so that, as club said well e'en now, our knavery is as near allied as felling of wood and getting of children.
Excellent, excellent. By this they are at hand. Let's bear these things like ourselves. I'll withdraw and put on my habiliments, and then enter for the doctor.
Do so. They come, they come.
Exit Gerardine. Enter Glister and Purge.
Welcome, Master Dr. Glister and Master Purge. There's a commission to be sat upon this day to open a passage for imprisoned truth concerning acts yet in tenebris.
True, I am brought hither by the malice of my wife.
And I have a just appeal against my wife.
Master Poppin, so I think you are called, I understand you have the law at your fingers' ends.
I can box cases and scold and scratch it out amongst them.
Indeed, fame reports you to be a good trumpeter of causes. I must retain you, sir, to sound mine.
My sackbut shall do it most pathetically. Tell me, in brief, the nature of your case.
Faith, sir, a scandalous letter devised to wrong my reputation about a bastard in the country which should be mine.
About a bastard in the country which should be yours. 'Tis very like you, then, it should seem.
Oh, no, sir, understand me, only fathered upon me.
Only fathered upon you? Cum nemini obtrudi potest. I understand you, and like you well, too. You do not flatter yourself in your own case. No, 'tis not good. Well, what more?
And about my niece got with child in my own house.
By Our Lady! Burdens of some weight, which you make light of. You deny?
What else, sir? I have reason.
I know it well. I take you for no beast, Believe me, Master Doctor, denial and reason are two main grounds. Stand upon them, and you cannot err. Your case, Master Purge.
First take your fee, Master Poppin, that you may have the more feeling and urge it home when you come to it.
Giving money.
Mine is a discovery of my wife's iniquity at the family of love.
Otherwise called the House of Venery, where they hunger and thirst for it.
True, sir. You have heard of the hole in the wall, where they assemble together in the daytime, like so many bees under a hive.
Come home cruratima plena, and lodge among hornets, is not so?
I cannot tell, sir, but for my part, I am much noted as I go.
No doubt of that, sir. Your wife can furnish you with notes out of her quotations.
Aye, and give him a two-tagged point to tie 'em together.
But how came you to detect her?
Why, thus, sir. Getting the word, I dogged her to the family, where, closing with her, I whispered so pleasing a tale in her ear that I got from her wedding ring. And here 'tis.
Well, out of that ring we will wring matter that shall carry meat i' the mouth. But what witness or proof can you produce to make good your wife's iniquity and your own cuckoldry?
Master Lipsalve and Master Gudgeon, who were her companions at that same time.
Very good. Are they cited in the quorum nomina?
They will be here, sir.
If they be, they will bewray all.
So much the better. 'Twill savour well for Master Purge.
You understand my case now?
And mine too, sir.
I do. They're as different as a doctor and a dunce, a man and a beast. Here's the compendium. Yours, Master Doctor, stands upon the negative, and yours, Master Purge, upon the affirmative. Pauca sapienti. I had.
Mine is very current, sir. I can show you good guilt.
Ay, marry, there spoke an angel. Guilt's current indeed. Let me feel't.
I mean my wife's guilt.
Master Poppin, you shall have innocence to speak for me.
Tut, innocence is a fool. I care not for his company. I can speak enough without him.
Then I hope you will be as good to us as the five-finger at Maw.
No, rather as Hercules, to lip-labour him with the club law. Tut, let me alone.
Enter Mistress Glister, Mistress Purge, and Maria.
Oh, here you are, sir. I have brought you a full bond to glut your greedy appetite. If you have any more, feed here till you choke again. Now shall I see the whole carcass of your knavery ripped up. If thou hast any grace, now will thy red beard turn white upon it.
Oh, how have I been tossed from post to pillar in this libidinous world! The yoke I bear is so uneven, as if an innocent lamb and a mad hare-brained ox should draw together. But I must have patience. There's no remedy.
There's some difference between these two tempers.
Glister, aside.
I would give £100 my wife had so gentle a spirit.
Purge, aside.
My wife must needs be gentle, for she can bear double.
Re-enter Gerardine, disguised as a doctor.
Here comes Master Doctor. Now rig up your vessels, everyone to his tackling.
Good day to all at once, and peace amongst you. Far how I sweat. I think Vulcan ne'er toiled so at his anvil as I have done, and all to make maids water to slay Cupid's fire, and to turn his shafts from the feather-bed to the bedpost, from the heart to the heel. Come, Master Poppin, shall we to this gear?
Reverend Doctor, we have stayed your coming. Crier, cry silence.
He cries.
Master Doctor, I have heard in general terms the tales of Master Dr. Glister and Master Purge, which have in mutual manner jumped into the quagmire of my mind. out of which quagmire, by your enforcement and mine own duty, I pluck them up by the ears, and thus, in naked apparence, I present them.
Ad rem, Master Popham. Leave your allegories, your metaphors and circumlocutions, and to the point.
Then, briefly, thus. I have compared their tales. How short they will come of their wives I know not. And first for Mistress Purge. Crier, call Mistress Purge.
Rebecca Purge, wife to Peter Purge, apothecary, appear upon thy purgation, upon pain of excommunication.
Here I am. O time's impiety! Hither I come from out the harmless fold, to have my good name eaten up by wolves. See how they grin. Well, the weak must to the wall. I must bear wrong, but shame shall them befall.
Who is her accuser?
Her own husband, upon the late discovery of a crew of narrow-ruffed, straight-laced, yet loose-bodied dames, with a rout of omnium gatherums, assembled by the title of the Family of Love, which, Master Doctor, if they be not punished and suppressed by our club law, each man's copyhold will become freehold, specialties will turn to generalities, and so from unity to parity, from parity to plurality, and from plurality to universality. Their wives, the only ornaments of their houses, and of all their wares, goods, and chattels, the chief movables, will be made common.
Most voluble and eloquent Proctor.
By Our Lady, these enormities must and shall be redressed, otherwise I see their charter will be infringed, and their ancient staff of government, the club, from whence we derive our law for castigation. This club, I say, they seeming nothing less than men by their forepart, will be turned upon their own heads. Speak, Rebecca Purge, art thou one of this family? Hast thou ever known the body of any man there or elsewhere concupiscentically?
No, Master Doctor, those are but devices of the wicked to trap the innocent. But I thank my spirit I have fear before my eyes, which my husband sees not, because something hangs in its light.
Purge aside.
That's my horns. She flouts me to my face, and I will not endure it. I shall carry her mark to my grave. Master Doctor, she has given me that Aesculapius, were he now extant, could not heal, nor edax rerum take away.
Produce your witness, Master Purge, and blow not your own horn.
Master Lipsalve and Master Gudgeon, let them be called.
Lawrence Lipsalve and Gregory Gungeon, late of hic et ubique, in the country of Nusquam. Gentlemen, come into the court and give your evidence, upon pain of that which shall ensue.
Enter Lipsalve and Gudgeon.
Here they come, in pain I warrant them. How works your physic, gallants? Do you go well to the ground, now, cuckold the doctor? Wife, who's your first man now? Now strike with the scabbard, ha ha ha!
A villainous doctor!
Mountebank, you're a rascal, and we will cast about to be revenged.
Cast about this way, and bewray what you can concerning Mistress Purge, who stands here upon her purgation, either to prove mundified or contaminated, according to the tenor piece of your principal evidence. First give 'em the book.
Come, lay your hands upon the book. You shall speak and aver no more, nor wade no further into the cream-pots of this woman's crime than the naked truth and the cart-rope of your conscience shall conduct you. So help you the contents. Kiss the book.
Alas, we are not in case to answer largely. But if you will have our evidence in brief, I think I kissed her at the family some 3 times, once at coming, once at going, and once in the midst. Otherwise, never knew her dishonestly.
Aye, mark that middle kiss, Master Doctor.
And for my part, I have been more mortified by her than ever I was before.
How say you to this, Master Perch? Your witness is weak, and, Sir Reference on it, without sounder proof, they may depart to the close door whence they came, and you to your apothecary's shop.
No, Master Doctor. I have another bolt to shoot that shall strike her dead. She shall not have a word to say.
Answer me to this, Mistress Purge. Where's your wedding ring?
My wedding ring? Why, what should I do with the necessary things about me, when the poor begs at my gate ready to starve? Is it not better, as I learned last lecture, to send my substance before me, where I may find it, than to leave it behind me, where I must forego it? Yes, verily. Wherefore, to put ye out of doubt, I have given that ring to charitable uses.
Nay, now she falters. My client can show that ring, got from her at the family, when these two courtlings had at the same time beleaguered her fort.
This alters the case clean. What starting hole have you now, Mistress Purge?
E'en the sanctuary of a safe conscience. Now truly, truly, however he came by that ring, by my sisterhood, I gave it to the relief of the distressed Geneva.
How? To the relief of the distressed Geneva? Justice, Master Doctor. I may now decline victus victa victum. One word more shall overthrow her. I myself was a familist that day, who, more jealous than zealous in devotion, thrust in among the rest, as I had most right, on purpose to sound her, to find out the knavery. Short tale to make, I got her ring, and here it is. Let her deny it if she can. And what more I discovered, non est nunc narandi locus.
Husband, I see you are hoodwinked in the right to use of feeling and knowledge, as if I knew you not then as well as the child knows his own father. Look in the posy of my ring. Does it not tell you that we two are one flesh? And hath not fellow feeling taught us to know one another as well by night as by day? Husband, husband, will you do as the blind jade, break your neck down a hill because you see it not? Have you no light of nature in that flesh of yours? Now, as true as I live, Master Doctor, I had a secret operation, and I knew him then to be my husband, e'en by very instinct.
Impudence, dost not blush? Art not ashamed to lie so abominably?
No, husband, rather be you ashamed of your own weakness. For my part, I neither fear nor shame what man can do unto me.
Master Perch, I see you have spent your pith. Therefore best make a full point at the ring, and attend our pleasure. Master Poppin, proceed to the rest.
Crier, call Dr. Glister.
Dr. Glister, alias suppositor doctor of physic, appear upon thy purgation, upon the belly pain that may ensue therein.
Here, Master Doctor.
Who is this accuser?
His clamorous wife, who seems to enforce a separation about a bastard in the country, which should be his, only fathered upon him.
What proof of that?
Proof unanswerable, Master Doctor. The nurse's letter. Let it be read, but first observe his countenance. It may be his blushing will bewray his guilt.
Now by this light I thought it had indeed, but I see 'tis but the reflection of his beard. Read the letter, Master Poppin.
Dry Fat reads,
After my hearty commendations remembered unto your worshipful doctorship, trusting in God that you are as well as I was at the making hereof, thanks be to him therefore. The cause of my writing unto you at this time is to let you understand that your little son is turned a ragged colt, a very stripling. For being now stripped of all his clothing, his backside wants a tailpiece, commends itself to your fatherly consideration. Woe worth the time that ever I gave suck to a child that came in at the window, God knows how. Yet if you did but see how like the pert little red-headed knave is to his father, and how like a cock-sparrow he mouses and touses my little Bess already, you would take him for your own and pay me my hire. I write not of the want of one thing, for I want all things. Wherefore take some speedy order, or else as naked as he came from the mother will I send him to the father. From the 22nd, your poor nurse, Thomasine Tweedles.
Master Doctor, truth needs not the foil of rhetoric. I will only in monosyllaba answer for myself, as sometimes a wise man did. Such and such things are laid to my charge, which I deny. You may think of me what you please, but I am as innocent in this as the child new-born.
Why, there's partly a confession. The child, we know, is innocent, and not new-born either, for it should seem by the letter he is able to call his dad knave.
You take me wrong, Master Doctor.
Under correction, thus much can I say for my client's justification. Indeed, he hath travelled well in the beating of pulses, and hath been much conversant in women's Jordans. But he had ever a care to raise his patient, being before cast down. His charitable disposition hath been such to poor folk, that he never took above 4d. For the casting of a water, which good custom was so well known among all his patients, that if 6d. Were at any time offered him, they might be bold to ask and have 2d. Again. He hath been so skilful and painful withal in the cure of the green sickness, that of my knowledge he hath risen at all hours in the night to pleasure maids that have had it. And for that foul-mouthed disease, termed by a fine phrase, poxont, what do you call it? Oh, the Grincombs. At that he hath played his doctor's prize, and writes nil ultra to all mountebanks, so that the wise woman in Pissing Alley, nor she in Doolittle Lane, are more famous for good deeds than he. Then, Master Doctor, out of these presumptions, besides his flat denial, a more infallible ground, you may gather his innocence, and let him have his purgation.
No, Master Poppin, it is not so to be foisted off.
Nay, Master Doctor, what say you to his own niece, that looks big upon him? An arrow that sticks for the upshot against all comers, which by his restraint of her from Master Geraldine, an honest gentleman that loved her, and upon that colour from the sight and intercourse of other men, must by all presumptions be his own act.
Oh, monstrous! This is a foul blot in your tables indeed.
Wife, thou hast no shame nor womanhood in thee, thy conscience knows me.
True of thy flesh, who knows not that? Thy beard speaks for thee. Ay, ay, thou liest by me like a stone, but abroad thou'rt like a stone horse, you old limb-lifter.
Cease your clamour and attend my speech. Most worshipful, reverend, and judicial doctor, for the quickening of your memory I will give you a breviate of all that hath been spoken. Master Dr. Glister hath a cradleful and a bellyful, you see, thrust upon him, and Master Purge a headful. Your wife is an angry honeyless wasp, whose sting I hope you need not fear. And yours carries honey in her mouth, but her sting makes your forehead swell. Your wife makes you deaf with the shrill treble of her tongue, and yours makes you horn-mad with the tenor of her tale. In fine, Master Doctor's refuge is his conscience, and Master Purge runs at his wife's ring.
Summa totalis, a good audit have you made, Master Poppin. Now attend my arbitrament. For you gallants, though you have incurred the danger of the law by using counterfeit keys, and putting your hands into the wrong pocket, yet because I see you punished and purged already, my advice is that you learn the ABC of better manners. Go back and tell how you have been used in the city, and being thus scoured, keep yourselves clean and the bed undefiled. For you, Master Purge, because I see your evidence insufficient, and indeed too weak, to foil your wife's uprightness, and seeing jealousy and unkindness hath only made her a stranger in your land of Ham, my counsel is that you re-advance your standard. Give her new press money.
You may enjoin me, sir, but...
But not at me, man. I will enjoin you, and conjoin you, and briefly thus. You have your ring that has made this combustion and uproar. That keeps still. Wear it, and here, by my edict, be it proclaimed to all that are jealous, to wear their wives' rings still on their fingers, as best for their security, and the only charm against cuckoldry.
Then, wife, at Master Doctor's enjoinment, so thou wilt promise me to come no more at the family, I receive thee into the lists of my favour.
Truly, husband, my love must be free still to God's creatures. Yea, nevertheless, preserving you still as the head of my body, I will do as the Spirit shall enable me.
Go to, thou hast a good wife, and there an end. Upon you, Master Doctor, being solicited by so apparent proof, I can do no less than pronounce a severe sentence. And yet, i' faith, the reverence of your calling and profession doth somewhat check my austerity. What if Master Geraldine, by my persuasion, would yet be induced to take your niece and father the child? Would you launch with £1,000 besides the father's portion?
Master Doctor, I would, were it but to redeem her lost good name.
Then, foreknowing what would happen, I thought good in Master Geraldine's name to have this bond ready, which, if you seal too, ye shall take her with all faults.
That I will instantly.
Seals the bond.
So, this is done, which together with my niece do I deliver by these presents to the use of Master Geraldine.
He thanks you heartily, and lets you know.
Geraldine, Dryfat, and Club discover themselves.
That Indian mines and Tagis's glistering ore to this bequest were unto me but poor.
What? Geraldine, Dryfat, and Club?
The very same.
You are welcome to our club law.
Cease admiration here. What doubt remains I'll satisfy it full. Now join with me for approbation of our family.
Epilogue. Gentles, whose favour have o'erspread this place, and shed the real influence of grace on harmless mirth, we thank you. For our hope attracts such vigour and unmeasured scope from the reflecting splendour of your eyes, that, grace presumed, fear in oblivion dies. Your judgment, as it is the touch and trier of good from bad, so from your hearts comes fire, that gives both ardour to the wit refined, and sweetens the incense of each willing mind. O may that fire ne'er die, nor let your favours depart from us. Give countenance to their labours proposed a sacrifice, which may no less their strong desires than our true zeals express. Exeunt. End of Act 5. End of The Family of Love by Thomas Middleton, Thomas Dekker, and Lording Barry.